So the next step here is to get this facing onto the garment and finish it off. The first thing we're going to want to do is I like to secure the waistband. I do a nice little roll, and I just use these clips. I think they're really handy for this, and I just do the roll, and I keep the facing to the inside and roll the outside of the waistband to the outside. Now, something really important here is a lot of patterns will have you trim off the facing like 1/4 of an inch or something like that, and that's to facilitate this roll to the inside. We are not going to trim anything yet. So both your facing and your outside pieces of your waistband should still be the same length. They're going to get off as we start folding and rolling, but don't worry about that right now. What I want you to do is I want you to get your waistband all ready with clipping, and then I'll show you what we do next. So I've got this all clipped. You can see the facing edge hanging out from the bottom, and the next thing is when we attach this to the waistband, we need these layers to be as secure as possible. So what I'm going to do is I've got it nice and flat, so I'm going to run a line of basting. I'm going to use my sewing machine about an inch and a half up from the bottom of the outside, the front side of the waistband, where we're going to sew our garment to. But we need to run a line of basting there to hold these layers really secure. So what I just did here is I basted the 2 layers, the front and back of the waistband together. And this is the front side now, the shorter piece, and the longer piece is the facing. We're going to take the right side of our garment and we're going to stitch it to the right side of the waistband, just a single layer here, the front piece. We're not going to stitch both pieces. And this is where it gets a little fiddly when you put it all together, so it's really important to make sure you're just stitching these 2 layers. But I'm going to stitch together and then I'll show you what we do next. So here comes the last part of our process. So what I've done here is I've got the body of the garment stitched to the outside of the waistband. You can see the roll of basting there. We're going to leave that in there right now. And it gets a little fiddly in here, but what we want to do is we want to make sure that this seam allowance is up inside the waistband and that the facing comes down over it. Everyone has their preferred method of fastening things. So what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to put a couple of pins in crosswise just to get it into position. And again, this is all nice and flat with the waistband. And one of my ideas is to experiment with using Wonder Tape to hold this all together, but sometimes it doesn't stick as well as I would like it. So that is the next experiment. You know, all of these things I'm showing you, these are just experiments that I'm, taking clothing apart I have at home or something like that. I'm just trying to figure out how they did stuff. So I've got, you can see I've got the facing secured in the back, but now what I really want to do is I really want to get this secured very snugly. And so I'm going to pin right at the crease there. And you want to make sure that this is pulled really flat. I don't know if you saw that I just had to pull this up a little bit. I got my crosswise pins because I don't want to be sewing over those. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to do that same cover hemming, but I'm going to do it on the waistband side, right along that edge there. And it'll be the same way we did it before, where we just get the needle right up next to the edge there and go along here. But we're going to cover hem it from the top side, and then you'll see what it looks like. Alrighty, well I just finished sitting at my cover hammer, stitching the sample, the last bit, and here's what it looks like from the front side. You see this nice row of top stitching where the waistband and the body of the garment come together. It's not bulky. Remember this bulky stuff, and this is what this one looks like from the front. It doesn't look nice. It's okay, it doesn't look nice. And this is what the back side of it looks like. And normally I'm a big fan of being really accurate with your cover hemming so that the cover hemming goes right to the edge of the fabric and you don't have to do any trimming. In this case, because we're kind of doing a faux factory finish here and we don't have all the fancy machines that would line everything up, I'm going to go in and I'm going to remove the basting, and then I'm going to take my trimmers, really nice scissors here, my trimmers, or my duck-billed applique scissors, and trim this really close to the edge, and that'll give us our final finished look. Well, I did my trimming, and this is what we ended up with. Here is our sample with a beautiful waistband. It's got a nice soft roll at the top, and we've got some top stitching down at the bottom. And so what I really like is this is not bulky. That's the big deal for me. On the inside, this is what it looked like where I trimmed it. And then we've got our roll to the inside. And this is actually really comfortable. That's one of the reasons I like it. So that's our sample. Here is a garment that I did using the same technique. Some leggings. Here's the inside of the waistband. Oops, let me straighten it. And here's the outside of the waistband. Good luck. Have fun.